Shalom, dear friends, wonderful to be with you. You know, today we are going to distress. We are going to be...
Yes, very
Here
much.
we go. Thank you, Nimrod, for coming to be with us.
Wow. Nathalie, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me to this program. And let's have some point of view about clowns.
Yes.
You know, I take it very seriously. Yes, yes. So what do you want to know? I'm very happy to be in this studio. I'm so happy that you invited me.
So, I know that you are called Nimrod.
Yes.
I know that your father is a surgeon.
It was a doctor, yes.
And your mother was a midwife.
It's true.
And you didn't want to be in the hospitals.
Yes, it's true. I didn't know you know that. But are we going to do a serious conversation about clowns and clowning and therapy?
As you like.
Okay, it's fine. So let me just say this. Clowning is my life. And when I talk about it, I like to be serious. So let's restart. You asked me a wonderful question about my family. You surprised me. I don't know how you know that.
All right.
Yes, I grew up in Hadassah, Jerusalem Hadassah family. My father was doctor and my mother was a nurse. I would sometimes go and have lunch in the hospital after school. It was my family's life. Growing up, of course, I tried to run away from this destiny as much as I can, so I found the circus. And I ran away to the circus, doing juggling shows and circus shows in many ways around the world and in Israel. And then suddenly, and I found myself coming back to the hospital, and it's been now 15 years that I'm a hospital employee and I work in the healthcare system, like my parents, bringing a different point of view into therapy.
So, yeah, how did you become a clown? Was it something that you really had all the time inside of you? Or is it something that one day...
No.
No.
No. It's very interesting, this character for children. For me, it was a mix of having fun and having good friends around. And I wanted work. I wanted a job. I wanted to do something. And I wanted to be in contact with people. As early as high school, when I was 17, I found myself doing birthday parties for children with my best friend because we used to make each other laugh.
Communication.
Yeah. And this was the best work for high school kid because I had no boss except the mother of the birthday. She was my boss every time. And we could just have fun and have these children enjoy and celebrate and get a little bit of money. And so that's how I started.
So was it in Israel, all of that?
Yeah, all of this is in Jerusalem. The circus had something special always. And it only comes one time or a year or every 2 years. And when it comes, there's a story that happens in your life as a kid that I didn't forget. Yeah.
And there is a bit of mystery with them too, is it right? Yeah.
And a little bit of mystery and question, and even a little bit of what is this strange thing? The circus makes you feel many emotions. You laugh with the clowns. You are afraid with the acrobats flying. You are curious by the magician. You are attracted to the animals, but you can be afraid of the light. So the circus and the clown is an emotional.
But you went also in France and in Italy. Explain a bit, because why did you go over there?
Well, I was already at that point, I was 24. I knew that clown is a secret that I want to learn, that I want to find out. It was a very strong experience as a performer for me, and it was a very interesting story in the world around me. Clowns appear in culture in many ways, many places. There's a clown here or a clown there, in movies, in stories, in books, in Shakespeare. 600 years ago, in the Bible or old Jewish tales in some ways of thousands of years ago.
Well, there is even the story with Purim.
Of course.
Because it's like upside down. Everything is upside down.
Exactly.
So it's quite interesting.
Exactly.
So
Purim is for us one representation of this clown character. What you asked me about traveling, Israel doesn't have a very, or Jewish people and Israelis don't have a very rich background of clowning. And I was really curious about this French and Italian development of this character. Clown, commedia dell'arte, mask work, and street theater that is very developed in Europe. And like many Israelis, I was curious and actually hungry also to travel and to see other places.
So to the right time.
Yeah.
And you're really sponge. When you're 24, you're still like you're discovering a lot of things. Very interesting.
I went to study in a school of pantomime. And so in the age of 25, I learned a new language, French, and a new way to move, and new people around me. I was like a baby again.
Yes.
Having to learn so many things around how to communicate. And for me, it was always a practical way to develop my shows, my contact with audiences.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, you are now here in Israel and you are working in a hospital, most of the time with children.
Yeah.
Are children afraid a bit of clowns because they are different?
So of there is a big concept of being afraid of clowns. We talk about it, people mention it. We had the research done and it found out 1.4% of children, so a very small percent, really have a phobia, an inside fear of this character. With in other facets or other points of view, I actually enjoy the fact that people have a strong relationship with the clown. It's an interesting character. You can't stay, how do you say?
Yeah, neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah.
You feel like this, you love them, or they make you laugh, or they're pathetic, or they're afraid. You don't know what you feel for the clowns. And I love it as a challenge. Myself personally, I work in the hospital every day, and many times a child can be afraid, especially in the younger age. Especially since the hospital around him is a very organized and ordered place, and suddenly this character comes and changes everything. And there is a way to make this fear of clowns turn into a great love and connection.
So I saw also that they've done research, and that it really helps the children. It really makes the stress being very. Can you speak a bit about that? And how do you do it?
I don't know. You tell me. How do you feel now? I tell you. No.
I feel good.
But why? There's a clown. Of course. So there is many research. There's many ways to research this question. Is laughter good for us? Are clowns right for therapy? There's a basic approach that is almost automatic. Of course, laughter. They say laughter is the best medicine. I say antibiotic, chemotherapy, that's a wonderful medicines. Laughter is the best way to take medicine. You will absorb it better. Your procedure will go better when you bring laughter and positive communication into the therapeutic process. So what we do in the organization I work for, I'm part of for all these years, which is a wonderful, very Israeli kind of organization, the Dream Doctors Project. One of the things we've noticed, this is 2007, I remember we analyzed how many medical research has been done about clowning. We found 3 worldwide. Of course, it was not a field yet. It wasn't. At that point, there was a whole way to to develop it. What we did was to open a research fund for doctors, nurses, psychologists, and social workers, anyone that in his academic
field,
want to research the clowning. In a very specific point, medical researches are done not on the broad question, is it good for you or not?
Very specific.
In one procedure, we have 30 kids that do have the clown before and 30 kids who do not, and we have, it takes months to analyze what affects this. By now, we already published, or many these articles have been published about our work, over 22 articles already published in the professional journals. And over 35 researches are being conducted. So what Dream Doctors has done is to take this field and to completely open it, and now we have a body of research. I'll be happy to share the link because this is all, how do you say, public information.
So can we find that on the Dream Doctors?
Easily, Dream Doctors research. You will get immediately to the body of research, the archive of this. We want to reduce stress as children or families go into the procedure. We want to better the cooperation with the medical staff. We want to see how clowns can help emotional stress versus physiotherapy. How do they help in physiotherapy? Where it is emotional, of course, but it's a physical thing. So the clowns play with the children as they do their physiotherapy, and suddenly all this painful procedure becomes a game. Yeah.
A game.
Etc. etc.
So how do you do also, like when you communicate? You are in Israel. There is Jewish people, foreigners, Arab.
Of course.
You know, different background, and your job is like to communicate.
Yeah.
Is that an international language? Do you understand what I mean?
Of course.
Are people very different, or are they really basically the same inside?
Wow, a big, wonderful question. First of all, I think I'm lucky to be a clown in a place like Israel. Such a multicultural country, even inside every group of population, Jewish or Arab or Christian or religious or non-religious, there are many smaller fractions and many different cultures that come to play together. On top of that, a country in conflict, a country under, almost to say under trauma, almost to say under constant trauma.
And who had trauma for many for many centuries,
Yes.
millennia. So it's like you have this trauma that you carry inside of you from your grandparents, great-grandparents, your parents, and then suddenly you are surrounded also with the trauma.
Yes. We look at it on a social range, and you say the whole country, everybody here lives under the stress of something. It changes every few years. It can go from here, from that. Whether you're Arab or Jewish or religious or non-religious, your life is challenged in Israel constantly. Your belief is challenged. Your security, your well-being is challenged. And so it's a very...
Your ideas. Your ideas are challenged by different.
I love it that you say that, because I always say Israelis question everything. Everything you would tell them, they would say, yes, but why and how and that. In many moments in life, it's too much, and you say, okay, Israelis, come on. But for us, it's wonderful. People are open. They are curious. They don't let you. They don't just let you do what you do. They want to affect what you do. They want to tell you how to be a clown. You know that phenomena? That if you in Israel you always have an idea about your job better. For us, it's wonderful. It means that we have a great open field to play and to research and to give a bridge to really be effective. I work in the hospitals in Jerusalem. I work in the hospitals in Tel Aviv. Nothing makes me happier than coming into a room, and this is a very normal day, work day. There would be 4 different communities in one room, with religions, with cultural identity, age, etc. Everything in one room in a hospital in Israel. There's everything. We call it an island of sanity because with oncology department, there's no conflict, there's no war inside there. Everybody is together. And so we as clowns have the possibility to really bring people together immediately. And we all have one or some kind of character of clown in our minds. One thing that clowns have in common is because they can come in many, many ways and shapes, of course, is a different way to communicate. So for example, think about Charlie Chaplin. We love him. You remember Chaplin?
Yes, of course.
Can you show me just like this, how is he standing, Charlie Chaplin?
You look like that.
What you did is you have an image of this man. He did his
with
movies.
his skin and his skin.
He did his movies over 100 years ago. in a foreign place. We, you, like me, like all of us, still have this image because his clown is a universal character. And he tells us a story without talking, because he did his whole career without talking. He opens his heart. Let's say he closed his mouth and opened the heart.
That's it. This is the thing.
And the clown art is really is very much about physical comedy, movement, body language, sounds and voices and music, and so it's an international. And so, for example, the clown can play with a child that speaks Arab and a child that speaks Hebrew and a child that speaks French or Yiddish, with even better. We close our mouth and open our hearts.
This is the trick. No, it's not a trick. This is the
This is the trick. This is the essence of this beautiful art of clown. There's many more things there. If you want, I can elaborate. Maybe one more thing about the art of the clown in the background of it. Again, let's use Charlie Chaplin. He's an amazing character because he was born actually in a poor, not fitting family. His family was completely not functioning. His mother was not functioning and his father was absent. And he grew up with brothers from different fathers. He grew up in a very hard conditions. Very early on, he became powerful, strong. He had money. He was the star, the first star of cinema. He was a very important man. But he wrote all his movies. But what's the story that he wrote for himself? Nothing works for him. Problems all the time. They chase him, he falls down, things fall on him, everything is And he gave us this gift. When it doesn't work well, it opens something for us. It actually works better in this kind of art. Maybe because all of us, our life is not perfect, and we
exactly. Because so often people try to be perfect, and it's not the thing.
No.
Yeah.
Life is not perfect.
Exactly.
Many problems every day. Just this morning, sorry, I was making my tea, and then the tea was dripping, so I took it, and then it fell on the floor, and the cat came and started to. Life is not perfect. So many moments happen to us every day that we say, Comes this art of clown, and the clown his life is full of problems, and all of his stories are stories of how things are not right. Yeah. But my way to change it is not by fighting my problems, but by flowing.
Yeah, you know, when you speak about that, it reminds me the film, A Beautiful Life.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, in this film, I think I discover like the poetry of being so naive with the Nazis, during the time of the Nazis and all of that. And for me, this film was like really touching. And it's the same. He was kind of a clown. He was playing a clown.
Roberto Benigni, great clown, amazing, wonderful Italian clown. And the story of this movie, like you say, you remember the song?
No, I can't remember. But I want to watch the film again.
It's a wonderful movie about maybe the most terrible situation we can imagine, a father and his child in the concentration camp, and he finds a way through imagination, through playfulness, through an adult that connects to the mind of a child and speaks the emotion of a child, which is sometimes about imagination and fantasy and not dealing with what is happening right in front of us. And sometimes it's dealing exactly with what's in front of us.
So I love when
and
you
it's a
are
wonderful movie.
When you are in the hospital, which is, you're right, everything has to be clean and is proper and has to have rules, and you're right, you just like throw all these things out, but you're like touching the life of the children in a beautiful way.
Yes, it's just another technique or another thing of the clown. He's an adult with an adult's mind, but maybe the heart or instincts of a child. And when you can bridge over these two parts that we all have inside. You reach children in a very strong way, especially in the hospital where the adults should, and for example, nurses, doctors, they have to be organized and maintain, responsibility. The medicine has to come on time, etc. One character in this hospital, a therapy character, the clown comes as a therapist, an emotional therapist, can bring these emotions of a child into play in procedures. Yeah.
And also, I was watching a film, you could see also the mother was very stressed. And the clown was playing with the child, and because the child was laughing, suddenly the mother, you could see on the face of the mothers, the stress coming out. Yeah. And I was like, wow, he's doing a lot of work.
In the hospitals, it comes as a team. It's always a child and parent, mother or father. And there is so much work that we do with the parents because at this time of challenge, of trouble in their life, they are so affected by each other. And you know that when you can change the emotional situation of the parent, it will affect the child maybe even stronger because it's in the connection between them. We also do projects of clowns with adults. And our clowns in many places are already also in adult oncology. Work with, of course, dementia and Alzheimer is another project that we do because again, there is suddenly this possibility of a physical connection and an emotional connection that goes past what this person has lost. But we also just work in adult departments where everyone that has been ever hospitalized knows the atmosphere is so heavy. What can we do together to bring happiness, curiosity, energy, motivation, a sense of empowerment to this patient that can help him feel better?
And this is wonderful. And I know that you do also you are traveling in many countries. Again, to connect with the children is very easy, or culture are still there?
Yes, of course.
Like when you went in Nepal, you went to Nepal. Yeah. Was it very difficult to connect with the children? Or
No, it was an amazing experience. Sometimes as a clown I come back from a catastrophe or a sad place and I have to tell a story of a wonderful something that happened, so that's strange. We learned from them actually because the feeling was not of a natural catastrophe, let's say nature catastrophe. The feeling was of a nature being nature. And everybody was very accepting of the fact that there was an earthquake and because of their culture. And so for us to connect to an emotion, to the children, the families that we worked with were not under a panic attack that we would imagine, but actually under a very calm and interesting and very deep communication. For us, since we are colorful and clear, we can make this contact more easily and help these people find their way in what's going around. So we were working in Nepal inside the IDF field hospital, this organization, and we just became part of the therapy process. So we would bring people, explain to them where to go and what to do, help the doctors explain what do we need to do right now. You need to do this or that. We can give so much aid, especially here in this multicultural or gap. In other places that we travel to, we bring this specialty or experience that we have, unfortunately, in Israel with trauma therapy, emotional trauma. And so, for example, we travel to places that are hit and where we can bring a different atmosphere and a change during the time of therapy. So one of our one of the projects we did was last year in Pittsburgh. After that horrible attack in Pittsburgh, literally 48 hours after the attack, our clowns were already there as part of an emotional trauma team that came from Israel. And we just went to the kindergarten, the schools, and the after-school activity for children and just played with the children. We didn't talk to the children about anything that
Just
happened.
take the stress or take the emotion.
Exactly. I had, let's say, two major things I wanted there. One is the emotional expression. Because these children, they don't know what happened, but they feel that every adult around them now is sad and stressed, and so they just absorb
that's it.
the emotion. So let it out. And when I say emotions, it's fear and happiness, anger and hope. And we have the games and the clown techniques to bring out these emotions from children while they are just playing their games. The second thing that was very interesting in Pittsburgh, Natalie, we're going a little deep in this, okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
What happened in Pittsburgh happened by a stranger that came into their community and did a terrible thing. The clown is also a stranger, but he's a positive stranger. It's the same for the circus that is traveling from city to city. It's the strangers, somebody different from us that came here. But this stranger, we don't need to be afraid of him or how do you say, not trust them. We can accept the fact that we are different and that we are strangers to each other and immediately be positive and get into contact. And it's, I think, part of what we try to do is to give people a good feeling about the things they don't know about.
Yeah, this is wonderful. You know what? We should be more. Everybody should be trained as a clown because it will help us really to put the stress all down and all of that. Nimrod, thank you. This was just wonderful to be able to be with you and to really know more about the work of the cloud. And friends, if you want to know also more about Dream Doctors, just go on their website and look at the work that they are doing, and you can also help, and you can learn a lot of things, and let us learn to be a clown. Bye from me and from Nimrod.